membership, December, and facts you might remember. It's the Power of God's Love Podcast, episode 1017. Hey there, Tony here, and I hope the first week of December of 2025 was better for you than a dozen scratch card winners in a row. And I mean, no matter what the amounts were, I hope it was better than that. Okay, enough gambling talk. Here's what I shared in the Truth Journal from this past week. And the TLDR, too long, didn't read, is info filled with recommendations, suggestions, and connection tips. Okay, you ready? Let's go. Page 1, lifetime membership and benefits will never dip. I encourage you to seek out the MJS PBR organization and grab your free lifetime membership while the limited time offer lasts, okay? That's what I'm encouraging you to do first. You're not going to find a better body of people in the world as long as you live. Because the owner paid up each and every member's dues. How cool is that, huh? And you can get that same deal, guaranteed. Limited time offer. All you got to do is ask. What's that? You'd like to know more about who these MJS PBR people are before you join? Okay, crazy as that sounds, all right, no problem. Would you believe they're just like you? And they're quite possibly, literally, all around you and your community right now. Yeah, and they had to discover for themselves, too, all the lasting, dare I say, everlasting benefits of membership. And they had to ask to join. They had to do that too. Because every single person who's ever joined identifies with a single individual. No, it's not Justin or Taylor. I'm talking about the individual who started the organization in hopes of overcoming the world with graceful love. That's a big goal. An individual who manifested in the flesh, justified in the spirit, was seen by angels, preached among the Gentiles, believed on in the world, received up in glory. You've heard of street cred, right? Well, forget that nonsense because he's got streets of gold cred. And that's infinitely more impressive. Now, I highly recommend you join today because, as I said, your lifetime membership is a limited time offer. When you expire, the offer expires too. And it'll never be available again. Membership has its rewards, but be warned. Most of the world will do its best to make fun of you, mock you, and create policies designed to shut down the MJS PBR body of members. But we do have certain legal protections from the true Supreme Court that the whole world will never remove. So trust the judge, who will never, ever budge from what's right. He's the light. He will lead you out of night into day. He's the way. Seek him out. Join today. And let's go to page 2. Number 3, you can see, is about more than even me. Here's something I shared, a few years ago. And one day this past week, it was fairly appropriate to share it again. Yeah, apparently the number 3 is a charm full of all kinds of magical powers. Just so you know, I'm not talking about the search for the secret keys to the universe. That's something that Nikola Tesla talked about. He figured those keys could be found by thinking in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. And some say, he was obsessed with the combination of 3, 6, and 9. I've looked at some of the calculations and tabulations involved in the golden ration and vortex math, and it's fascinating to ponder, but I'm not in awe of where scientists tend to want to go with that information. I'm not quite sure if Nikola went with the evolutionary side of science or not, but too many scientists sure do. Oh, sorry. I just sidetracked down a little rabbit hole there. Let's get back to me and my focus on 3, okay? And maybe the number 3 is a charm. After all, 3 is the main number for a lot of the building blocks in life. Atoms are made up of protons, electrons, and neutrons, and time exists as past, present, and future. Math is built on positive, negative, and zero. And of course, there's no greater example of the power of three than the Holy Trinity, God in three persons, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. So that once again brings me back to the number three and my interest with it. First, my birth date is 3, and the numbers of my birth month equal 3 when added together, and the month and date added together equals 6, which is the number of man, plus when I lay out some tabulations, I reach the number 25. And if you subtract the 2 from the 5, you get 3, and yeah, I could go on, but I'm not obsessed or anything. I mean, come on. I don't walk around a building 3 times before I enter, and I don't have to stay in hotel rooms with numbers divisible by 3. I'm not obsessed with it like Nikola Tesla, although I guess if I got good and obsessed, maybe I'd have a car named after me. I don't know. Even though I noticed I use some keywords 3 times each in this little brain dump of mine. So maybe I should just say goodbye, farewell, auf Wiedersehen for now. And may the God of hope bless you today, tomorrow, and forever. See what I did there? All right. Page 3. December 5 comes alive when these facts arrive. Okay, I'm going to get down to a different level, and I'm just going to share a few musical factoids with you. So if you're not in the mood for that sort of thing, it probably won't interest you that Paul McCartney released an album on December 5, 1973. Yeah, December 5th, 1973 saw a release of Band on the Run in the United States. That was an album called Band on the Run. One source I saw said that that album was the critical pinnacle of his post-Beatles work because it topped the charts in 7 countries. When you consider how difficult it is to top the charts in just one country, like the United States, for example, that's pretty darn impressive. I don't think I actually bought a copy of that album. I eventually was given one, but I know I probably had a cassette version, and several of the songs off that album were big hits for Paul, and I heard them on, pretty much all the popular radio stations back then. Yes, I was alive back then. I heard it all the time. And eventually I added the first and last songs on the album to my live music repertoire. The title song, Band on the Run, and the last song called 1985. I really like the musical change-ups in the first song and the way that last song rocked out and the way it built up to a crescendo, complete with a minor key to major key resolution chord at the end. Fun stuff. I really had a blast playing that one all the time. I'd like to do that right now if I get an opportunity. Who knows? Maybe I will. Now, here's an interesting side note I hadn't heard before. I forgot where I got this, but this is a quote from an article that I read. According to the 2015 book, Conversations with McCartney, Paul said that when recording this album, the band went to Africa. They were told not to walk around the country, but Linda, that was his wife, Linda and Paul did that anyway. They walked around. Paul said they were robbed at knife point. Way to go, Paul. Listening to good advice? No. The original recordings of a few of the songs on the album were stolen, but they escaped with their lives, and that's all that really matters. That's what the article said. And by the way, in Africa, they were in the country of Nigeria. Remind me, as if you'd have to remind me, to never go there. I can avoid that place like the plague, which they probably have going on right now. Anyway, Paul enjoyed and still enjoys, I suppose, a lot of musical successes like 5 consecutive number 1 albums, 27 U.S. top 40 hits, best-selling pop act of the 1970s with his band Wings, 60 gold records, and he composed the most recorded song ever, Yesterday. And there are many more. I'm not going to list them all, obviously. By many accounts, Mr. McCartney is the wealthiest musician in the world who has a net worth of about $1.2 billion and he continues to earn tens of millions per year in royalties and licensing fees earned from both his own music and his incredibly valuable portfolio of publishing copyrights from other artists. But you know what? With all that, Paul is still drastically poor compared to me. And certainly not because of my musical successes, because they're not even a fraction of his. But I invested wisely somewhere Paul has passed over, at least up until this point. And my investment will still be paying dividends long after either his money or his time has run out. No, I'm not a shrewd investor or marketing genius, or even a lucky guy who started out with a multi-million-dollar inheritance. I'm just a regular guy who's humble enough to learn where the real gold is and then place my faith where it can produce a heavenly return based on perfection instead of my broken brain. So here's the thing. If you prefer to listen to peacenik talk and top 40 hits, then Paul McCartney might fit the bill for you. But if you're looking for truth, real love, and everlasting life, you should maybe consider my recommendations. And there are just two main ones I always share. You can feel free to email me anytime and ask what those are. Here's one final tip or suggestion or recommendation, whatever you want to call it. You might only have a certain number of shopping days left till Christmas out there in the physical world, but you literally have until basically the last minute when you buy from my bookshop, TonyFunderburk.com/books. Got some good stuff in there for kids, and adults like some of that stuff too. If you don't want to buy anything, at least jump on the Truth Journal. Get that delivered to you for free at TonyFunderburk.com. All it takes is your email. And TonyFunderburk.com is the sponsor of the Power of God's Love podcast, by the way, as I like to mention. And until next time, let's look for every opportunity we can to go out and share the power of God's love.